Booking hotels with credit cards can unlock incredible perks and savings, but with so many options out there, which one is best? Today, we'll be answering that exact question, and to do so effectively, I decided to bring on 4 credit card experts that y'all might know and love, who, including yours truly, will be breaking down the exact redemption method that they use to book their hotel in New Orleans for the Creator Meetup over Labor Day weekend. We got Luke's Points and Miles representing the Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts collection that you have access to through the Amex Platinum. Richie, the CEO, and his wife will be covering the Capital One Premier collection that you have access to through the Capital One Venture X. I'll be covering the Chase Edit collection that I have access to through my Chase Sapphire Reserve. Anthony Venture will go over the Mastercard Luxury Hotels collection. And Calby's going to come on to talk about using travel agents to make similar bookings. By the end of this, I hope you have a really good understanding of not only the advantages and disadvantages of each method, but also how you can go ahead and implement them if you decide that one of these methods is one you want to try. And by the way, please go ahead and check out everybody's channels in the description if you haven't yet. This video took a lot of time and coordination to produce, and it would really mean a ton to me if you could show our guests some love by checking out their channels. Without further ado, let's jump into the first question that I asked everybody. How does this booking method work?
What's up, guys? Luke here from Luke's Points and Miles, and what's up to my man Spencer? Okay, booking using the American Express Fine Hotels and Resorts, or FHR program, is fairly simple. Assuming you hold any version of the American Express Platinum card, you can just go to the travel portion of the Amex website, click on Find Hotels and Resorts, and search your dates. For this example, I'll show you how I would book the Roosevelt Hotel, which is a Waldorf Astoria property located in my favorite domestic city, New Orleans, Louisiana. And I'll be booking for what is actually the minimum of just one night. When booking this way, you can earn 5x MR points using the American Express Platinum card, or you can actually pay with your points and you'll get right around 1 cent per point when you do pay with Amex MR points. Don't forget that if you hold a personal Platinum card, this will also trigger your $200 hotel credit when you use this program. And in my example, that would drastically bring down the total out-of-pocket expense for this one night at the Roosevelt. Now, this booking method is going to come with a ton of extras and benefits that will act a lot like having status at this hotel. In fact, Amex advertises this program as offering an average value of $550 at over 1,600 properties worldwide.
Hey Spencer, thanks for asking us about the Capital One Premier Collection. We recently stayed at Premier Collection hotels twice.
The first time we stayed in the Winter Court in New Orleans at the Creator Meetup.
And just recently, last weekend, we stayed in Miami at the East Miami Premier Collection Hotel. The two experiences were kind of different. One was definitely better than the other one.
For sure.
But before we get into that, let's go through the process of booking a Premier stay. So booking a stay with the Premier Collection is pretty simple. It's pretty similar if you've ever booked on AmexTravel.com, Expedia, or any of those other booking portals. When you first log in, you're going to come on this landing page, and you'll see this tab to the right here that says Premium Stays. You're just going to click on that. Once you get there, you'll come to this page, and if you scroll down a little bit, it's going to go over all of your benefits and perks. Those include 10x miles on booking, $100 experience credit on site, daily breakfast for 2, and then some premium benefits based on availability at the place you're staying include a room upgrade, early check-in, or late checkout. So you'll scroll back up and put in all your information. We'll just put in New Orleans, and we'll just pick this upcoming weekend. And right here, the first one that popped up is where we stayed, the Winter Court. Go ahead and click on that and scroll down a little bit, and you'll see it gives you a quick overview of the hotel. It'll confirm your cost per night, how many nights you're staying, and total costs in dollars or miles. They will add fees and taxes on at the end, so even though it shows that as a total cost, it's not actually your total cost yet. Go ahead and click on Choose Room, and we'll just pick one of these rooms right here. Make sure all of your information is correct, and you confirm. Up top, it's got the hotel, the dates. Right here, it's got your traveler information. If you've ever traveled with Capital One Travel with anybody else before, it'll store their information so you can choose who's traveling. A little bit further down, it's going to confirm your contact information via your phone number and your email. Right below that, it's going to give you the option if you want to use any rewards. So if you want to redeem some of your miles, or you can choose not to apply my rewards. Directly under that is going to be your payment method. And underneath that, it's going to show that this is a non-refundable stay, and it'll give you some little extra information. Like, for example, this says that the room is only guaranteed to fit 2 people. If we bring any more, it's up to the hotel. They may choose to charge you more. And that's pretty much it. From there, you just go up to confirm your booking and you're done. pretty simple.
Okay, so how does the Chase Edit collection work exactly? The Edit behaves in a very similar way to the Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts collection, as well as the Capital One Premier collection actually. But basically, if you have the Chase Sapphire Reserve credit card, you have access to the Edit collection, and this is where you're going to get some elite-like benefits at participating hotels. So this includes stuff like breakfast for two, property credits, room upgrades, and more. And I'll actually touch on exactly what I was offered on my New Orleans trip here in a second. First though, I want to quickly show you how you can book these hotels if that's what you want to do. So first, of course, you're going to want to navigate to your Chase travel portal. Then you want to enter your location, so we can do New Orleans for this one. Your check-in date, which I'm just going to make up something, maybe like this weekend here in December, as well as the number of guests here as well. Then you can click search. And now you'll see your list of options here. And to tell which ones are obviously part of the Edit collection, you'll see this little button here on the bottom that says the Edit hand-selected stays for Chase Sapphire Reserve. So in New Orleans, you can see on this weekend, there's 5 different properties that are showing up at least right now. I know that they do kind of, come on the website, come off as availability opens up. But this first one here is actually the hotel that I booked for the New Orleans trip. So let's go ahead and click into this one, and we'll see this header here that shows us exactly what we'll be getting at this property. And I can obviously vouch for the Kimpton Hotel Fontenot because that's exactly where me and my girlfriend stayed for the meetup. We did get the daily breakfast for two, a $100 property credit, a room upgrade at check-in, early check-in, late check-out, and complimentary Wi-Fi. On top of that, I guess it doesn't even say it in here, but we did get a welcome gift of like a bottle of wine and some snacks whenever we got there. So that was really nice too. For the room upgrade, they did let me know that they upgraded the room whenever I got there, after handing me a piece of paper and thanking me for being part of, the Edit collection with Chase and all that stuff. But the room that we got upgraded to was like a higher floor room in the corner. So our room was much bigger than initially expected. And like I mentioned, that welcome gift being there whenever we showed up was a really nice touch, and it made the whole experience feel a lot more luxury, especially for my girlfriend, since that was one of the first trips I took her on, where we got the upgraded room and all the added benefits. Once you continued through this booking process though, obviously you would just choose exactly what room you wanted to book. You could add it to your trip. And then once you're in the cart, you'll see that you have a few different options as to how you could book this trip. You could pay the full thing in cash right here and earn 3x points. Again, more on that in a different section. Or you could actually just use your points from your Chase Sapphire Reserve at a 1.5 cent per point redemption rate and pay that way. So to very quickly summarize, you can think of the Edit collection by Chase as being very similar to the Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts collection, with a few unique quirks that I think make it better for some of us at least.
Great question, Spencer. You want to know what's the best program to use, and I just happen to think that Mastercard World Elite happens to be elite. It happens to be the best. So we're going to be talking about all of your questions today. So number one, your first question was, how does this booking method actually work? So essentially what you have to do is have a card that has World Elite, right? So most Mastercards are World Elite cards, but just make sure it's on the back of your card. Make sure that your Mastercard is a World Elite Mastercard. Okay, cool. Next, you actually have to go onto a website, Mastercard Luxury Hotels and something like that. And usually it's the first option, and you can go on there and you can register to apply for their luxury hotel program. And that's how we're going to do everything today. So what you do is you'll just put in your card number, you put in a couple other additional details, and then within usually 24 to 48 hours, they'll approve you for the program. And then now you have access to the Mastercard World Elite Luxury Hotel portal, to which you can go online, much like Amex Platinum's FHR, and you can go and book hotels and a few other things. But we're talking about hotels today. So that's exactly what you do. And that is what I did for my New Orleans trip. And basically it's as simple as that. You just use the portal online, or you can call in, whatever is easier for you. You click the hotel stay you want, the day you want. It'll tell you the cash price with taxes right up front, so no hidden fees. And once you go through, you'll make the reservation. And one of the good things I like about this is that you don't have to pay automatically up front. You could just pay when you get to the hotel, which is not unique. I thought it was pretty cool because then you can book it now and you can just book the reservation out. You don't have to foot the bill of anything right at this moment. So this way, if you have to change something or move a reservation or cancel, you never actually footed the bill. You never actually spent any money. So there's not going to be any annoyances with getting credited back and what have you. You can just cancel the reservation and then make a new one.
Hey, how's it going, Spencer? So you want to know different ways to book hotels using a bunch of different services. And I've used a lot of services before. I booked the Fine Hotels and Resort, the hotel collection. I'm going to book using the Venture X here soon. I've used travel agents, the Mastercard Luxury Hotels, and the Visa Luxury Hotel collection. I think travel agents may be the way to go. So you're asking, how does this booking method work? So basically, it's actually really simple with a travel agent. So you want to go onto their website. So personally, what I used for New Orleans was Lux Rally. And all you want to do is just sign up for an account, and then they'll connect you with like a travel agent, an advisor. And for that company, Lux Rally, they texted me and we just had, it's kind of like a chat with your friend. And all I had to do was tell them when I was going, where I was going, and if I had any preferences for hotels or benefits. So when I used the travel agent Lux Rally, I told them that I would prefer going to the Waldorf in New Orleans because everyone's staying at the Waldorf. But actually, my travel advisor advised against going to the Waldorf. They said the Waldorf is usually a nice property, but in New Orleans, they don't recommend it. They have a lot of clients that went to that Waldorf and just were disappointed. So instead, he suggested a lot of different options for me and more or less went through those options and kind of said what he recommended staying at, and that ended up being at the Four Seasons. He thought it was worth it to pay the extra $100 or $150. I don't remember what the exact number was at that time, but it wasn't that much more than the Waldorf. And he's like, you're going to have such a great time at this property instead of staying at the Waldorf. So because he was the expert, I'm going to take his word for it. And then after that, all you have to do is confirm that you want to stay at that hotel. They'll send you an authorized credit card form. You type in all your credit card information into that form, which is fully secure. And that's about it. They'll book the hotel and do everything else for you.
Booking through the Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts comes with a lot of advantages, and I'm going to try to quickly go through them. You're even going to receive a personalized letter when you get to the hotel listing all your benefits. And for myself, each time I've used this program, the property has really went out of its way to make me feel special. At the Ritz-Carlton in Dubai, I received a chilled bottle of wine and an extra extravagant fresh fruit plate thingy. I wouldn't quite expect that everywhere. You guys know not everyone does hospitality equally. First off, you'll receive a room upgrade when available. And for this example, which I've actually booked a few times using this program, I've always been upgraded to a deluxe suite, which includes a separate king-size bedroom and an extra half bath. That half bath, in my opinion, is a game changer, and it adds some serious convenience. You'll also get free breakfast for two, and that is substantial because the hotels that are included in this program are generally higher end properties, and that means the breakfast served is likely very expensive. Noon check-in when available, and 4 p.m. checkout is guaranteed. Remember, 4 p.m. checkout could mean almost an entire day to explore the city, or maybe just chill out at the pool. You also receive complimentary Wi-Fi and some type of property credit. From my experience, this is normally $100 towards food and beverages or purchases at the spa or even the gift shop. The credit can vary from property to property though. Now, if you are scoring at home with this booking at the Roosevelt, the room price was $320, but we have the potential to utilize that $200 Amex Platinum hotel credit. We're going to get free breakfast and a $100 property credit. So depending on how you value these credits, you might even be in the positive at this point. One more thing, from my experience when booking fine hotels and resorts, I have always been able to include my loyalty number for properties with Hyatt, Hilton, and Marriott. And my status benefits have always stacked with the FHR benefits. So obviously, if you're booking this, you hold the American Express Platinum card, and that grants you gold status at Hilton. So at this Roosevelt, you're also going to be granted $50 a day in food and beverage credits on top of everything else. Guys, that's serious value. Just remember to use all these credits. Our last stay in New Orleans for the Creator Meetup, I left most of that money on the table. It was just too chaotic to remember. I'm going to try to earn that money back next time.
So the benefits of booking with the Premier Collection are really nice. Right off the bat, when you book with your VentureX card, you're going to get 10x miles for every dollar on that booking. Of course, you're going to get the $100 experience credit on site too. You can use that for a spa if you can find anything in the spa for $100. If not, other places have things like tours that leave out of the hotel or something like that you can use it on. Daily breakfast for two is always great. At the Windsor Court in New Orleans, we got $40 each, so $80 each day for breakfast, and the breakfast there was amazing. The availability benefits are great when you can get them. Room upgrade, always nice. And early check-in and late checkout, we like to maximize every moment of our vacation. So if we can get there early and check in at 11 or 12, great. we'll be there by the pool. And then if we can check out late, we'll be at the pool right before we leave.
I think that's my favorite perk is the early check-in.
Yeah, that one is worth its weight in gold to us. So a lot of great perks with the Premier Collection.
All right, so why would we choose the Chase Edit Collection over all the other options we're talking about in this video? Of course, one of the biggest advantages is going to be all of those perks I mentioned, like the daily breakfast for 2, a welcome gift upon arrival, room upgrades, early check-in, late checkout, and all of that. But considering most of these booking methods give you something similar, we need to see where it stands out. I think that the biggest perk of the Edit Collection over all the other methods is the fact that you can actually use your points to make the booking happen. But further than that, you get that 50% boost that the Chase Sapphire Reserve provides through the travel portal. The easiest comparison I can make here is between the Chase Edit Collection, Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts, and the Capital One Premier Collection. With Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts, you're going to have to pay, in cash for you to actually get those perks. That was actually incorrect. You can book with points using the FHR collection, but you only really get a value of 1 cent per point maximum. And with the Capital One Premier Collection, you can use your points to book that trip, but you only get a max value of 1 cent per point, which isn't really ideal. So as somebody that really likes to utilize that 50% boost that the Chase Travel Portal provides, combining that with all of the benefits of the Edit program, to me, is really a game changer. And also further than that, no matter how you end up booking the trip through the Edit, you'll still earn points with that respective hotel chain that you booked with, on top of earning qualifying nights towards status. So for reference, again, at the Kimpton Fontenot in New Orleans, that is an IHG property, and I recently got 6,000 IHG points deposited for that trip, even though I booked the trip in points through Chase. And I also earned the 3 qualifying nights towards status too, so if that's something that you're chasing and still want to try to utilize your Chase points for hotels, this is a good option for you. And of course, if you were to book these trips in cash instead of by using points, you'd get 3x back on those purchases. Unfortunately, you do not get the 10x back that you normally would by booking hotels through Chase Travel, but I'll talk more about that in the next section.
And that kind of leads me to the second point, which was what are the biggest advantages of using this booking method? And I actually used this booking method to book my World of Astoria stay. It's called the Roosevelt in New Orleans. And that was an amazing stay. And I used MasterCard for that. And the second question you had, which is what are the biggest advantages of booking through this way? Well, one thing is the barrier of entry, right? The barrier to entry is essentially 0 because, I guess the main thing is, can you get approved for a Built card or can you get approved for a Chase Freedom Flex? There's some city cards. Pretty much most MasterCards out there, or a lot of them, I should say, have no annual fee and typically will be World Elite cards that gives you access to this program, contrary to like maybe you need a Venture X, which is a $395 annual fee to get access to the Premier Collection, or Chase's Edit Collection with the Reserve of $550, or the Amex Platinum $695 for FHR. I could have a no annual fee Built card or any other, Chase Freedom Flex and get access to all of these luxurious hotels, leading me to the second advantage, which is the FHR like perks, so these preferred program like perks, meaning $100 experience credit, which I used at the on-site restaurant there at the Waldorf Astoria, and sometimes in the past I've used it towards spas, things like this. So most of these programs are going to come with this. Also the daily breakfast for 2. So in my case, I think we got $60 or $70 per day for every day of our stay just by booking this way at that hotel as well. And one of the other advantages, though, is that I hear that some of these other programs are a little bit strict in the card that you use to pay for the actual hotel stay. Like I've heard in the past, when you book FHR hotels with the Amex Platinum card, that's a lot of the hotels, since I guess that program is more, I don't know, maybe more in tune with things. I don't really know why, but they'll force you to pay with an American Express card for that hotel stay. Well, every single time I've booked and made a reservation with my MasterCards, I've been able to switch the card at checkout to whatever I wanted to. So I was able to either, I could pay with an Amex card if I want, or in my case, since I had, a lot of Chase Ink cards, I was able to, put a payment on one of those cards and hit a welcome offer, so I think that's also another pretty big advantage to that as well, along with just the overall advantages of booking through these kind of preferred hotel programs is that in this case, at least with MasterCard, you're paying cash. So if you're paying cash for all of these stays, you're actually getting loyalty points through the hotels themselves. Like in my example, I booked the Waldorf Astoria. It's a Hilton hotel. And since I have Hilton Gold status and I paid cash, I was getting 18 points per dollar spent in cash for booking the hotel the way I did with Mastercard. So that equals, literally doesn't matter what card I use. It's just because I stayed at a Hilton. That ended up equaling, since it was like a $300 a night stay, about 5,000 Hilton Honors points. But at that time, there was also some bonuses and promotions. I ended up getting about 12,000 points for that one stay, which, if you value Hilton points at 0.5 cents per point, that's another $50 or $60 discounted on top of the $100 credit, on top of the $60 or $70 daily breakfast, etc. So I think in a lot of ways that this is one of the best ways to book hotels, is not booking with points, actually booking with cash.
So what are the biggest advantages of using a travel agent? And I think one of the biggest factors, which I didn't realize, because I thought travel agents, you had to pay a fee, you had to pay this, and maybe some do, but the one travel agent that I was working with, Lux Rally, they didn't charge any fees, and the hotel pricing was really similar, if not the same as what the hotel booking directly offered. It was actually comparing it to other types of bookings, like for the FHR, I believe it was $50 extra if you wanted to book the Four Seasons through FHR compared to using a travel agent. And I looked at some other websites like the Chase Sapphire Reserve, and it was still more expensive to book through them compared to a travel agent, even though you're getting the same benefits. So some of the extra other benefits is basically the same as FHR. You get that free breakfast at that property. I think we got like $40 per person or 35, I don't really remember, but it was a good amount for breakfast. We also got the hotel amenity credit, which was pretty much good on anything on the property except going towards your room cost. But I think this is also a major benefit of using a travel agent. So with travel agents, they're kind of small programs. They can get more personal, more like, hey, we've had a lot of clients sent to this hotel. They develop a lot of personal relationships. For the Four Seasons 2 with Lux Rally, especially since Lux Rally is located in Florida, they worked with this property a lot. They even know like the manager of this Four Season property in New Orleans. And because they have this personal relationship to this Four Seasons in New Orleans, they thought that when they're booking for me, that they could probably score a higher upgrade compared to any other types of brands within New Orleans, which, I'm always willing to take an upgrade, right? And just to add on, for Lux Rally booking specifically, well, that's all I know, is that you can add your membership number to the booking, and that's no problem. And also with Lux Rally, they give you different options. So if you didn't want to do the benefit package, they'll give you other options, like if you wanted to just book the room by itself, you wanted to book the room without membership attached to it, there's just so many different options that they can work with you, and you can choose between. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Every program has its drawbacks for some folks, and I can think of some with this FHR program. First off, this program does require a $695 Amex Platinum card. That is limiting for some. Also, I know a lot of folks in the points and miles game are just not inclined to pay cash for hotels, and redeeming Amex MR points for around 1 penny each might not be your thing. But I think the biggest factor is something I alluded to earlier, and that is the properties in the Fine Hotels Resorts program are generally expensive to prohibitively expensive. So a lot of these properties just are not going to be in everyone's budget. Just a quick search of South Florida, and I see rooms for well over $1,000 a night, and one of them even creeps up towards $3,000. But hey, if you're watching this, you're at least medium ballin', right? Another limitation is this is a fairly exclusive program, so there are not going to be a ton of properties everywhere. If you're looking for an anniversary night in Des Moines, Iowa, I think you're out of luck. Even a huge market like Dallas, I only saw 7 options, but I think 1,600 plus properties worldwide, probably enough here that there is likely something for everyone. Guys, that is a quick summary of the American Express Fine Hotels and Resorts program. It's a program I have used and I have gained plenty of value from, and it's the top of my list for special occasions like anniversaries. Spencer, thanks for having me. Until next time.
There can be some potential negatives to booking with the Premier Collection. I've seen reports on Reddit of people who make their booking and then when they get to the hotel, there's no record of the booking. Somewhere between Capital One and the hotel, there's a disconnect.
Yikes.
Yeah. Another thing is the inconsistency between the perks at the different properties. East Miami confirmed that we would get an early check-in on the phone when I called about a week in advance. However, when we got there, the lady at the counter said early check-in isn't something that they do. So we were left trying to figure out what to do for 5 hours. And with that particular hotel, you need your room key to get in the elevator, so we couldn't even go to the gym or anything like that. So that was a real bummer. Also, we didn't get a room upgrade there. They said that we already had a nice room, so there was no need to upgrade us. We did get late checkout, but we didn't even utilize it, honestly. So those are some of the downfalls that you could potentially run into. The lack of communication between Capital One and the hotel being a significant one if you run into that. So I highly recommend, if you do book with the Premier Collection, you call at least a week in advance to confirm the reservation with the hotel.
That's a good point.
Now, while the Edit Collection does have some awesome benefits like I talked about in the last section, there are a few limitations that you need to be made aware of that do generally apply to all bookings, but there are more specific ones that directly relate to the Edit. So for one general one, of course, availability can be an issue. The Edit Collection is a curated list of hotels, so if you have a specific property that you really want to stay at, or maybe you're just traveling through a smaller town, you might just not have any access to the Edit Collection. However, in every big city that I've looked in so far, there are a bunch of options. Like the New Orleans example I gave earlier, there was 5 when I just looked at it, so you have a good amount of choices there. Lack of availability could also apply to the perks themselves, although I haven't heard of anybody running into issues with this. Technically, they have some, fine print saying that these things like room upgrades are subject to availability. Same with early check-in, late check-out, but in my experience, even though I've only booked one hotel through this so far, I got everything promised and there was no issue with it at all. That was also on a holiday weekend, so you would assume that there'd be less availability, so take that for what it's worth. Another possible downside that applies to most booking methods is going to be the pricing, because sometimes the prices through Chase's portal might actually be elevated compared to other booking methods. So as with every portal booking that you make, or really any hotel booking at all, make sure you compare your prices to all of your different options so you get the best rate. I will note too that sometimes it still could be worth it to book even if the price is slightly elevated through the portal, and that would be because of all of the perks that the Edit Collection provides you. So for example, with my hotel stay in New Orleans, me and my girlfriend got $120 worth of free breakfast over the 3 days that we were there. The $100 property credit we use for dinner and coffee in the mornings. The welcome gift of wine and snacks, granted probably not very expensive wine, like maybe $20, but still we did enjoy having that. In addition to the early check-in, late checkout, and a room upgrade, which are sometimes just harder to put a price tag on, we at a minimum got back $220 without taking into account those intangible benefits, meaning that a slight inflation in the price may still have been worth it, again, depending on how much you really value those perks. And the last weird quirk that does only really specifically apply to the Edit Collection here is that if you book with your card or in cash instead of using points, you'll only get 3x back on that booking instead of the 10x back that you would normally get by booking a hotel through Chase's travel portal. Then again, though, I do think that the benefit of being able to use points at that 50% boost with the Edit Collection does far outweigh that con, because if you're anything like me, I try to book all of my hotels and flights using points, and I'd rather not use cash for any of that. So that doesn't really impact me, but it could be a major downside for you.
And honestly, the biggest disadvantages would honestly just be that one we mentioned earlier, that being, not getting guaranteed late checkout like FHR. Another disadvantage I would say is probably that you can't pay with points through this program. So you can't, go through an Amex portal and get 1 cent per point on your Amex points. No, it's always got to be cash for these stays, and it should be used as such. Another one, even though that the footprint is twice that of Amex's FHR with 3,000 luxury properties, that also means there's a little bit more variability, meaning like sometimes some properties only come with a $0 experience credit, or 25, 50, 75, and 100. So it's not always guaranteed you can get 100, depends on the property. So it takes searching around a little bit, and maybe a little extra time, because maybe some of these other programs, no matter what, it's guaranteed 100. This one, you'll have to check that property, check that one. More often than not, they're $100, but I've just noticed there's some that could be 25, 50, and here and there. So all in all, I really do love Mastercard, and I'm not just saying it just to say it. I think it's the best program out there. It's the lowest barrier to entry, the highest upside, the most variability and optionality with how you pay at checkout for the lowest annual fee. So thank you, Spencer, for letting me go on my rap sheet, get on my soapbox for Mastercard World Elite, baby, because he won't shut up about it. Anthony Venture won't shut up about Mastercard. So get out of my face if you say different. All right, I'm just kidding. Thank you, Spencer. Appreciate you guys. Take care.
So what are some limitations or some downsides with using a travel agent? Definitely, it depends on the travel agent, because the one that I'm using, Lux Rally, I don't know what they did. They didn't really go into specifics with me. They just don't have a partnership with Marriott Hotels, which I thought was really interesting. Like, you can book Marriott Hotels, but they just don't have the benefits, the 5-star program where they include the breakfast and the hotel amenity credit. So that could be a major downside, depending if you're like a Marriott fan, you might not want to use Lux Rally. Other downsides too, I think when I was doing some price matching, if you're booking a hotel that doesn't have any benefits included and you're just booking it straight, you know, if you were to book it from the website or direct, sometimes they can have like $1, $2 upcharge compared to booking it yourself. But most of the time, as I checked, they're pretty much the same price. And the third downside is, you know, a lot of credit cards like Chase, American Express, even, you know, the Capital One Venture X, they'll give you extra bonus multipliers if you use their program. Like, for example, when you use American Express to book FHR, you'll get 5 times points, MR points. But if you're going to use a travel agent, you're just going to get the standard multiplier. So, for example, if you're going to use the Bilt card, you'll just get the 2x points instead of the extra points that you would have earned using some other programs. So I definitely think that travel agents are something to seriously consider putting in your toolkit just to have, making sure that you have the best price, the best benefits, because most of the time it does end up being that way. Of course, not all the time, so it's definitely good to price match and just search around. But I definitely think it's a good place to start. I hope that helped you out, Spencer, and I'll see you later.
I just wanted to jump back in real quick and give a big thank you again to Luke, Richie, and Kim, Anthony, and Calby for joining me in this one. And if you are more of a hotel loyalist than we are, then I'd highly recommend checking out this video next to choose the best hotel credit card for you. As always, Odin and I really appreciate y'all watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.